Hey everybody, welcome to the new channel, Dollars and DIY with Jeff. I'm Jeff, of course, your host. Now, before we really kick things off with this channel, I want to stress something that is critically important anytime you're doing things around the house, whether you're working on a project out in the field, you're doing anything with forestry or landscaping or anything that has equipment and has moving parts. You always got to be thinking about PPE, personal protective equipment. This is something that you'll hear referenced any kind of public safety. So if you're a firefighter, if you're in EMS, police department, any of these entities, PPE is critically important. I'm going to take a minute and just go over a couple of things with you today. But I want you to remember every project we do, we're using PPE. Every project you do, I want you using PPE. Okay, so here we go, real quick. This is a welding helmet. Now, this is a cheap one I got on Amazon. I actually like it a lot. It works really well. I'll put a link to it in the description below if you want to use one or one similar. We're not really going to get into that too much today because that's welding specific, but I did want you to keep in mind welding is something that a lot of people think, oh, I can just close my eyes and it's going to be okay. I'm not going to get the bright light in my eyes that would damage my eyes. If you've ever seen any old school welders, these guys will have arms that look like they've been out in the sun for years. That's because of all of that UV exposure they're getting from welding. So you're going to want to wear the appropriate gear. We'll cover that when we do some welding projects, so stay tuned for that one. Gloves, okay? Gloves, some kind of thing to protect your hands. If you enjoy pulling splinters out of your hands, I've gotten really good at it over the years, so if you enjoy doing that, then don't wear the gloves. These are just cheap. I got like a, I don't know, like a 5 or 6 pack of these at Harbor Freight for $8 or $9. Protect those. But to me, the number one thing, eye protection. I buy these at Harbor Freight. They always go on sale for like $1 a piece. I think regular price is maybe $1.50 or $2. Every time I go there, when I'm buying miscellaneous stuff, I always grab a couple extra pair. I've probably got 5 or 6 of them laying around, and I've lost 10 or 15 of them, and they're just like everything else that I own. I put it somewhere, forget where I put it, and then I got to go buy another one. But even cooler, these right here, for those of you who are getting into the senile community age like myself, these are the DeWalt version of eye protection, but they also have at the bottom, they're like a bifocal. You can get those in various power. These are the 2X. I'll put a link to these. In fact, I still have the sticker on these where it says 2X. But these are really important to have, just some kind of eye protection. But that little bonus added bifocal down there is nice when you're working on projects up close. I use it a lot when I'm doing wood projects where I'm making measurements so that I can see where I'm drawing my lines. It's pretty helpful. Okay, so again, to me, eye protection is hands down number one. I don't mind so much if something happens and I go deaf, but I've got to be able to see. That's my opinion. Okay, so getting on to the hearing protection side. These are just some cheap generic earmuffs. You can use earmuffs, you can use earplugs, but use something. I know a lot of people, when I was in the Army, we were pretty good about wearing hearing protection whenever we could, but you can't always do that. Sometimes things happen. You just can't always plan for whatever situation might arise. We go, hold on, fellas, let me get my hearing protection in. Sometimes you just can't do that. But when you're choosing to do projects, you're working on home improvement projects, a lot of these things are really, really loud. Save your hearing. You'll thank me later. Okay, the next one I have is a helmet. This is like a regular generic construction style helmet. I got this on Amazon for like $8, something like that. If you look inside, it's got all of the like ANSI whatever certified, ANSI NS. I don't have those glasses on. I should put these on. Hold on. Yeah, it's got the ANSI ISEA certification and all that kind of stuff on it. These are great to have. I have this one. I've also got one just for doing like forestry and logging type of work where it has an integrated face shield and earmuffs built into it. Get the right PPE for the job you're doing. There is one that I wanted to highlight right now that is so crazy important because I always use this when I'm using this specific thing. But the angle grinder right here. This thing is an amazing tool. This has a wire brush attachment right now. You can use cutoff wheels, sanding discs, lots of cool things you can use. But when that thing is spinning around super crazy fast, it is not hard to have something come flying off of that. And it's not unusual for that stuff to happen. So you've got to be protecting your face. So whenever I'm using that, in addition to having the eye protection on, I'm using this face shield right here. So you put that on your head, adjust the size here in the back, and you're going to pull that down over your face. I saw a video the other day. If I can find a link to it or find a picture, I'll post it inside this video. He had a cutoff disc about this big, about halfway through the face shield. If he wouldn't have had that on, it would have been a bad day. Okay, last but not least, this is a respirator. This one is different from a lot of the ones that you'll probably see. A lot of the 3M, I have a couple of the 3M masks and they work great. If you go into an attic, I used to go into my attic to do stuff and I'd be in there working and I would come down to have a respiratory infection for a month afterwards. So anytime you're in a closed in, concealed kind of space, or not concealed, but a confined kind of space like an attic, make sure you're wearing PPE. So this one right here specifically works really well with this particular shield for welding. I got it specifically for that to protect me from the fumes that come up while welding. But like I said, whether you're using this, whether you're using like an N95 mask, or whatever you're using, don't use like a COVID era mask, because that doesn't work. It's not going to cut it. It's got to be N95. It's got to be something like this, or the 3M that has the little not cylinders but the little filters on the side. Make sure you're replacing those regularly and all that. But again, this is just a quick overview on some PPE stuff, because I don't want anybody watching anything on the channel and doing any of the projects that we're going to do unless you're taking care of yourself. Every project that we do, I will tell you specifically what PPE that I'm using for every project we do. At least I'm telling you that right now. I probably won't actually do that because I'm going to forget. But just know that I'm using it and I want you to use it too. So if you have any questions, drop me a message, let me know. And outside of that, we'll see you next time.